Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show, by any host, or by any guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before you begin any new diet, exercise, or training program. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Welcome to Healing Ties on the Whole Care Network. On Healing Ties, we're creating a life to love after caregiving ends by sharing stories and resources and being with awesome people like you. Now that caregiving has ended, let the Healing Ties begin. Here's your host, Chris McClellan, the Bow Tie Guy.
Well, greetings everyone. It is Chris McClellan, the Bow Tie Guy, for our third episode of our 6-series podcast with our good friend, Joy Loverde. Today, we are going to be talking about thriving in times of uncertainty. And goodness, there's a lot of uncertainty when it relates to caregiving. So, Joy, welcome back. It's great to visit with you again.
Thank you, Chris.
Last week, we had just a robust conversation about, the topic was goodbye change and hello transition. And you talked wonderfully about the differences between the two. And it's great that we're following up that conversation with a word that just is very prevalent for caregivers, uncertainty.
It seems like it's all there is uncertainty as a caregiver, and especially an older caregiver, because there's so much going on, so much more that occupies our mind because we're thinking about our own stability, our own finances, our housing, our health, our relationships. It's just front and center almost all the time, and there are no answers necessarily. You know, the stakes seem to be higher as an older caregiver, and all the uncertainty. You know, even if we didn't have the caregiving responsibility, we would still be having to thrive in uncertainty. So we're adding fuel to the fire here.
So I have a question for you, and I think I know the answer because it relates to the uncertainty, and I might have asked you this before, but have you ever met anybody that has caregiving on their bucket list of things that they like to do in life?
Absolutely not. Have you?
No, I certainly haven't. But I know if I'm looking at my bucket list of things that I want to do, I'm going to plan it out. Or I'm going to take notes. I'm just going to be looking forward to that event. When it comes to caregiving, because it just happens, there's so much uncertainty that just enters into any of our best laid plans that our bucket list might have. So when you look at the needs of older caregivers, is there a way that we can put them in order of importance, or does it just happen as well?
No, that one I can say with 30 years of experience that there is an order. If someone is just new to the process or thinking, I really need to get my act together in some way, I would highly suggest that the first need they cover is the one of financing a longer life. So we're talking about financing the care of the person we are caring for, and we're also talking about financing our longer life. So number one issue, make sure you're dealing with your money needs right away. And the second one has to do with housing. We all need a roof over our head, and that includes the people we care for. So the second need is the need of housing. However, this one has a little addendum attached to it, and that is where we live going to have services for care? We have to bundle those together. So housing with care services. And the third need is the legal documents need. It's all the paperwork that surrounds family caregiving. So the will, the trust, the power of attorney, and power of attorney for health care. Now, as I mentioned, these three needs, and they're in the right order. So we're doing that for the people we care for, but we're also doing it for ourselves at the same time.
You touched on a topic that hits home for me, certainly right now. Family situation that I'm dealing with is the importance of having those legal documents. It's amazing to me, and I think it was the National Alliance of Caregiving who or AARP, or maybe in their joint report. I'd have to be sure, but I do know the number sticks out at me. That 65% of people in America don't have their advance directives completed. I just find that utterly amazing.
I find it utterly irresponsible.
I was going to use that word too, but yes, it is. It is irresponsible.
It is not fair to do that to anyone. So I have found that when we simplify the process of starting backward and saying, hey, do you want to be in control of this time in your life? And if the answer is yes, then just do this. It will take you a half hour. So I usually introduce the concept of get control of this. Otherwise, there may not be the happy ending you're hoping for.
The last place you want to be having this type of a discussion is in the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
Yeah, and many times you can't even have that.
Comes back to just making smarter choices and having open and honest conversations between the two parties.
That's something that can happen on a moment-to-moment basis. Like the minute the person you care for looks like they're being open to having a discussion about the future, many times we have a knee-jerk reaction and we're thinking to ourselves, oh my God, I'm scared of this. And so we blurt out, I don't want to talk about that. Nothing's going to happen to you. Not on my watch, right?
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is if somebody that we're caring for gives us the opening, that's the time to dive in and start the conversation. And just start with a question. What is it that you would like me to do? Have you put your thoughts in writing? How can I help you with this? Or maybe I'm not the best person for the job. Who do you want to talk to about this? Let me help you get in touch with who you need to talk with about this.
Sometimes you have to engage in an objective third person on these delicate conversations. But in these thriving times of uncertainty, having these conversations are imperative to everybody's health and well-being, and also having a kind of a positive mindset about something that you know probably is going to happen, but at least you have some plan in place.
Yeah, there's a popular notion that being resilient is the way to go when things happen. So you say, okay, I'm positive, and I've been through tough times before, and I can do it again. But Chris, I say that being resilient is way too reactive for me, and I prefer to go to the skill of critical thinking. And that is one of the best ways and the most effective ways to thrive in times of uncertainty. So critical thinking is a skill that we all need to learn.
Oh, very much so. Critical thinking, it kind of takes me back, being in college and studying philosophy. And when you're in the middle of studying philosophy, you wonder, oh, goodness, what are we doing this for? But when you think about, not to be redundant, when you think about it, critical thinking really allows us to hopefully separate facts from reality.
It's really, if you're not stuck on your fears, it does require us to get out of our comfort zone. Because part of critical thinking means to talk to people that you normally wouldn't talk to under certain circumstances. So you would be asking questions possibly of people who are far older or far younger. When we then have to assess, am I asking, even like you said in philosophy class, am I asking the right questions? And there's no way around it. Being able to be brave enough to look at the thought processes that we have is part of the ways we get through these times of uncertainty.
Let's take our break here. When we come back, I'd like to continue this conversation about critical thinking and also talk about how do we talk to ourselves. How does that sound?
I love it.
Okay. You're listening to our 6 Series podcast, Who Will Care for Me When I'm Old? And we are on episode 3, Thriving in Times of Uncertainty. We'll be right back.
Everyone has a story, but not everyone gets a chance to tell their story. On the Whole Care Network, we are all about story sharing. That's why on the Whole Care Network, you talk and we listen. For information on how you can share your story on the Whole Care Network, contact me, Chris McClellan, the Bowtie Guy, at chris@wholecarenetwork.com. To your health, happiness, and prosperity.
Are you an older family caregiver? Are you managing the care of a partner, siblings, or aging parents? Caring for aging individuals brings about a lot of questions regarding your own future care. I'm Joy Loverde, author of The Complete Elder Care Planner and Who Will Take Care of Me When I'm Old. I hope you join me and Chris for this 6-part series on the unique needs of the older caregiver.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm with my good friend, Joy Loverde. And Joy, critical thinking. Goodness, how do we develop those critical thinking skills?
Well, we take a deep breath and we begin the breath because it does feel uncomfortable at first. However, we have all been here before. So we have all made important, extremely important decisions without having all of the information. For example, we may have picked a college major, or we may have decided on a career, or we may have decided to marry someone or not. So we make decisions, but we don't have all of the information, but we make decisions anyway. And then with a little bit of luck, our choices might have turned out for the better. So here we are again. And what we have to do is really begin the process of assessing the quality of our thinking process. So let me give you some examples.
Okay.
Do I tend to be reactive or proactive? Do I think on a short-term basis or do I think down the road? Do I look at things from an age base rather than an agelessness? And am I rushing all over the place in my thinking and want to get down to a decision? Or am I taking a deep breath and practicing patience in order to see how things unravel as I move forward? I take the student mindset in every situation I can. And I come from the place and say, I don't know anything. How do I need to go from here? Where do I need to go from here? Who do I need to talk to? And of course, as I mentioned earlier, I'm always seeking diversity. I want to talk to people that are so different from me so that they can open my eyes to what I'm not seeing.
It's so important to be able to talk to people that have different points of views and different experiences, because in the end, that's when we all learn not only new concepts, but we all learn from each other as well.
Yeah, one of the toughest questions to ask is, so let's say someone says something to us and we're struggling with their answer. We might have asked them a question and they gave us an answer and we're struggling with it. We don't like what they said. So instead of saying, okay, thanks, and then walk away, one of the best questions to ask at that moment, when the last thing you want to do is hear another word out of their mouth, is, why do you think that? So that takes us out of our comfort zone. However, the result is amazing.
I'm taken back by that, because I could see how asking that question, as uncomfortable as it might be, and the information that would be gained from that conversation.
This is critical thinking. This is exactly what it is. Instead of, as I mentioned earlier, resilience is just a reaction to whatever's happening. Oh, I can do this. I can be positive. I can see the cup is half full. That is not going to. I can't learn from that point of view. I can only learn from getting out of my comfort zone again and again and again. And we are certainly going to be thriving in times of uncertainty when it comes to money and who's going to take care of us and where we're going to live. There are no answers. There are absolutely no answers. We're going to have to make decisions in a void. How are we going to do that? We do that through critical thinking.
In your book, you talk about the process of people talking to themselves, and I found I just thoroughly enjoyed that, because especially in the midst of caregiving, we're constantly talking to ourselves. But
right.
I think everybody does it. In a sense, it does help us process what's going on right in front of us.
The important thing is to not see yourself as losing it.
Yes.
If you're talking to yourself, it's pretty normal. And one of the things I learned in writing this book is that children are naturals at talking to themselves, and it's how they process. And the only reason, what I read, one of the reasons why we stopped talking to ourselves is we were told by other people that we were interrupting their silence, or we were told that, be quiet, mommy's trying to take a nap, or who are you talking to? And we learned to get embarrassed about talking to ourselves.
Oh, yes.
We thought, oh no. But now that I realize the value of talking to ourselves, including talking to Fluffy and Fido, that counts too.
Yes.
Yes, it absolutely counts. You can. They say this is kind of funny, but I read that a cat has an incredible vocabulary because of the amount of talking to that they get from their owners. So cats have a lot of vocabulary. They hear people talking all day long. I don't know why they said it was cats more than dogs, but cats get it.
Cats get it. Goodness.
Yeah, they hear them talking all the time.
Thinking out loud this is nothing to be ashamed of. This really helps. It helps us in these times of uncertainty.
Well, we have to be conscious of the dark side also.
Yes.
But saying to yourself, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that, what an idiot I am, it's not good. It's not good at all. So just don't go there. Don't go to the dark side.
No dark side. It's all positive. We want to talking to ourselves. We want to be able to compliment ourselves and say yes.
Oh,
yes, I can.
Yeah, the title of the section is Who Else Can I Trust? I'm talking to myself. Who else can I trust? So be kind and be careful about what you say yourself, because it's okay. Just be positive.
Just be positive, and in thriving in times of uncertainty, it is important to have that objective third person involved so that you can assess your own personal critical thinking to kind of tame those uncertain times. So, Joy, we just have a couple of minutes left in our third episode. Could you let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you and find your books online?
You bet. So both of my books, Who Will Take Care of Me When I'm Old, and The Complete Elder Care Planner, are available wherever books are sold in the whole wide world. So the world is yours to find. It's easy. And if you want more information about the books or about me and what I'm up to, and I have a lot of resources on my website, please visit my website at elderindustry.com.
And I might add, there's a lot of great critical thinking on your website as well.
Great.
Well, Joy, I can't thank you enough for spending the time with me today. And in all seriousness, it is important for us to kind of take a step back and in these times of uncertainty and do some critical thinking about what is important for our own need. Joy, thanks again. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your wisdom. It's great doing these podcasts with you.
You're welcome, Chris.
Well, goodness, things are just moving along fantastically. And that does it for this episode, Who Will Care for Me When I'm Old? Be sure to join us next week for episode number 4, Money and the Needs of the older caregiver. I'm Chris McClellan, the Bowtie Guy. I'm creating a life to love after caregiving ends through radio, writing, travel, advocacy, and being with awesome people like Joy Loverde. Healing Ties is a part of the Whole Care Network. Check us out online at thewholecarenetwork.com for information on all our shows, show hosts, and especially upcoming podcasts featuring Joy Loverde. Make it a great week. Bye-bye.